Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been waiting for a real sign that the Iraqi dinar could finally be making its move, you might want to sit down for this one. Because today's report isn't just another, maybe, someday rumor. This is the kind of story that has the entire dinar community on edge. We're talking about a face-to-face bank exchange right at the teller's window where someone handed over Iraqi dinar and walked away with US dollars at a rate far higher than what we've been used to. And the name attached to this report, none other than Frank26, a figure that many in the dinar space have been following for years. This is what it looks like. It could mean the revaluation, or at least the first stage of it, is already quietly underway. So, buckle up, because what we're about to share could be the biggest news we've heard in a very long time. Here's what's making this story so electrifying, according to the account. The exchange didn't happen through some private behind-the-scenes deal. This was at a bank counter in full view of staff and systems, using official procedures. That matters because banks don't make up currency rates on the spot, they pull them directly from the global financial system. So, if the teller's screen showed a higher exchange rate for the dinar, it means that somewhere in the banking network, that number is active. And that raises the question, is this a quiet rollout to test the system before going public? We've seen similar approaches in the past with major currency shifts. Small, controlled exchanges happen first, often with selected individuals, before the rest of the world catches on. This is exactly the kind of scenario that has seasoned dinar watchers saying, this could be it. For years, the community has been asking, when will we see it? When will the rate change be real? People have endured false starts, fake screenshots, and endless speculation. But this time feels different. This isn't just a post in an online forum or a rumor from a friend of a friend. This is tied to someone who's been in the space for a long time. Someone who many trust not to hype up nonsense. Frank26 has built a reputation for being careful with what he shares. If his name is connected to a real-world bank interaction, that's going to get attention. And let's not forget, banks operate under strict regulations. If a teller processed this exchange at a higher rate, it's unlikely to have been a mistake. That means, at minimum, the possibility exists that higher rates are in certain systems right now. Even if they're not showing up everywhere yet, the reaction from the community has been immediate and intense. People are calling their banks, visiting branches, and watching currency boards like hawks. In many cases, they're getting responses that are very different from the usual "we don't handle dinar" dismissal. Instead, some are hearing phrases like, "we're not processing that yet," or "our system is updating." Those are not the typical shut-down answers, and they refueling even more speculation that something big is happening behind the scenes. If true, this could mean we're in a transition phase where select banks or select customers are getting early access while systems across the country are slowly being brought online. That kind of phased rollout would make sense, and a change of this scale it allows for technical checks, training of staff, and ensuring compliance with all regulations before opening the doors to the general public. Let's think about what this would mean for anyone holding dinar. For years, people have been holding on to their notes, often in safe deposit boxes or tucked away for someday. That someday has always been a vague, uncertain point in the future. But if we're now seeing real exchanges happen even in limited numbers, that changes everything. It means the wait could be almost over. People are already double-checking their holdings, making sure they're secure, and preparing for the possibility that they might need to act quickly. And when a story like this breaks, it's not just about the money. It's about hope. Hope that years of patience and persistence might finally pay off. It's about the feeling that the dream they've been holding on to isn't just alive. It's walking closer to their front door. The details of this reported exchange make it harder to dismiss. This wasn't an international transaction in some far-off country. Was a walk into a branch, speak to a teller, complete the exchange situation. That proximity matters. It tells us that this isn't just theory, it's operational at the bank level. And when banks are involved, they don't take chances. They follow strict protocols, pull rates from centralized systems, and log every transaction. That's why the possibility of this being a test run or limited release seems so believable. In the world of finance, big changes rarely happen in one public leap. They happen in measured steps, with smaller waves building up until the floodgates open now. It's worth mentioning the bigger picture. Iraq has been making major moves toward economic reform, political stability, and strengthening international relationships. These are the exact conditions that often precede a currency adjustment. International trade agreements, infrastructure, improvements, and policy changes are all part of building confidence in a stronger currency value. And when you combine those reforms with what appears to be real movement in bank systems, the timing starts to make sense. It's like watching puzzle pieces fall into place. Step by itself might not mean much, but together they form a picture that's hard to ignore. We also have to talk about the emotional impact on the dinar community. After years of waiting, skepticism can run deep. People have been burned by false hope before. But this time, the excitement feels different, more grounded, more tangible. That's because the details are concrete. An actual bank, an actual teller, an actual exchange. This isn't just speculation. It's an event that could be independently confirmed by those involved. And while not everyone will be able to walk into their bank tomorrow and expect the same rate, the fact that it's happened anywhere at all suggests that we might be on the doorstep of something historic. Another interesting angle here is the possibility of selective exchanges for specific individuals. In the financial world, it's not uncommon for banks to test systems with certain clients before a wide launch. These might be customers with long-standing relationships, large holdings, or connections to institutional banking. It could also be tied to geographic locations where certain agreements have already been finalized. If this is the case, then it makes sense why not everyone is seeing the same results yet. But the fact remains, if even one legitimate bank has processed this kind of exchange, the systems are clearly capable of handling it. There's also speculation about the role of international pressure in this process. Over the last few years, the global conversation around currency manipulation, fair trade, and economic balance has been louder than ever. Some believe that major figures in global politics are pushing countries, including Iraq, to align their currency values more closely with real market strength. This creates a ripple effect. When one currency adjusts, it can influence others. If Iraq is making this move now, it could be part of a much larger plan to reset certain economic relationships around the world. And that would make the dinar's revaluation not just a national event, but an international one. For those wondering how quickly this could spread, history gives us some clues. In past currency changes, once early exchanges begin, the rollout can happen in days or weeks, not months or years. The systems are already in place, and once the decision is made, it's mostly about executing it smoothly. That means we could see a situation where one week only a few people are able to exchange, and the next week it's open to a much wider group. But the key takeaway is that if these reports are accurate, we've moved from "will it happen" to "when will it happen" for everyone. Of course, we have to remain realistic. There's always the chance that what we're seeing now is limited in scope and could pause before going public. Banks are cautious for a reason. They have to ensure compliance, prevent fraud, and keep operations stable. But even if this current phase is just a trial run, it still marks a turning point. It proves the systems can handle higher-rate dinar exchanges. And it shows that banks are preparing for it in real operational ways. That alone is a massive shift from where we were even a few months ago. In the coming days, we'll be watching for more confirmation. More people walking into banks and coming out with US dollars at the higher rate, so we'll be looking at whether the responses from bank staff shift from "not yet" to "yes." We can help you with that. We'll be checking for changes in online currency boards and official exchange rate listings. and will be paying close attention to any policy statements or announcements from financial institutions that could signal the public. Phase has begun, so here's where we stand today. A credible report of an in-person bank exchange from Iraqi Dinar to US dollars at a significantly higher rate, tied to a well-known figure in the community. It's injected new life into the conversation and sparked a wave of activity among dinar holders across the country. Whether it's the first step of a full rollout or a carefully controlled test phase, it's proof that this is no longer just theory, it's happening in real life. And that reality changes the game. For everyone who's been waiting, watching, and hoping, the message is clear. Keep your dinar safe, stay informed, and be ready, because the moment you've been waiting for might be closer than you think.